Yo, yo, yo.
Let me teach you how to vibe.
Yo, 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 yo. All right, man, we back. Tap in with us. I know we late, but we always on time. Suave
Let
ATL,
me
what's
teach you
poppin', my
how to
boy?
vibe.
Man, if y'all tapped in on the blue, like, comment, share, tap into the daily content. If you're watching on the red, podcast drop 8 a.m. Central Standard Time every single day. Got picture in picture. Make sure y'all reacting and engaging with that content. If you're watching on the purple, Amazon Prime, you can sub to the channel free once a month. It costs you nothing. Don't use it on me. Use it on another content creator. Don't let it go to waste. If you're watching on the green, if you're going to kick up to 50 emos free, all you got to do is be a follower. You do not have to be a sub. Picture in picture, no ads. Let's get it. ATL, what's good, my boy? Man, I was going to pop on live earlier. I went live playing the game because I forgot what I was supposed to be talking about today. But then I thought about it and I said, you know what? We're consistent this year. It don't matter what happened. We're going to show up and do exactly what we say we're going to do. All right. Here's the conversation of today. A lot of people in fantasy land out here thought that Cam Ward was not the pick. A lot of people wanted Abdul Carter, and I'm gonna make them stand on it. A lot of people said Abdul Carter was the number one pick last year. Don't take Cam Ward. 2026 draft class.
Let me teach
So
you how to
crazy.
vibe.
There's gonna be so many good quarterbacks. You're gonna have all these quarterbacks that you should wait to next year. The class is gonna be better. And for all the teams that waited, and for all the teams this year that need a QB, only the Raiders have a choice at drafting Fernando Mendoza. And I'm not completely sold on Mendoza. I think he could be a good quarterback. I'm not so certain that he's gonna be necessarily a difference maker in Las Vegas based upon who they hire at head coach and who comes in on that staff. Now, with Cam Ward, picking him last year makes all the sense. Dante Moore does not come out this year. So you got Trinidad Chambliss, Ty Simpson after Mendoza. So if you're the Jets and you're sitting there, you got Justin Fields with one more year at $14 million with Aaron Glenn's life on the line, and how he starts this season could very well determine his coaching career. He's not going to put all his eggs in one basket with Justin Fields. They should have drafted a QB last year to develop alongside Justin Fields so they don't be in this position this year. The Cardinals was the biggest loser because I know they were probably waiting, sitting at 3, trying to take a stab at a QB if Dante Moore come out. But now, them having to make a decision on Kyler Murray before mid-March, or they're going to have to pay him $18 extra million on top of what he's already got guaranteed. They're going to have to make a decision early. And with Robert Saleh signing with the Tennessee Titans and not even taking the interview with Arizona, it puts them into a spin, because now the sale is going to have to be, we have a plan for how to move on from Kyler Murray, but you won't be able to go out and get the QB in the draft that you got your eyes on. And unlike most years where there's some decent free agent QBs out there, with Daniel Jones being injured, a double injury to end his season, the uncertainty of Kyler Murray, Kirk Cousins will be 40 years old just about Then you look at Mac Jones is probably the most will be the most sought after free agent QB. That's a tough spin for some of these teams looking to hire a coach and turn a new direction, because there's not even many free agent QBs. Can you get Davis Mills away from Houston? Russell Wilson, I don't see any team legitimately turning to him as their number one option without other options behind it. I just think this is a really thin QB class of QBs coming out. And if a team needs a QB, like, what do they do this season if they're not the Raiders? Big Jeff, two-time stat man. What do I think about the Cowboys' new defensive coordinator? Comes off the Eagles, you know. It's bittersweet for the Cowboy fans. I like the youth movement. Get some new young coaches. He said the uniforms in the third picture are so clean. It really is. Kenny, Adam L, what up? But that's the question of the day, is looking at the Tennessee Titans draft class. I think they made the right decision getting Cam Ward, and so many people are not willing to say that they were screaming for Abdul Carter. Now, if the Tennessee Titans did not draft Cam Ward last year, they'd be in a position right now where they literally would be banking that Will Levis comes back off surgery and turns into Superman year 4. Similar to the Colts. Riley Leonard, I don't think is their future. Daniel Jones will not play next year. I don't think he'll be healthy enough to play. So they almost have to turn and say, like, Anthony Richardson is the guy year 4. Because like give me 3 free agent QBs that teams legitimately that are looking to turn, like, people either coming in to coach year 1 with all these coaches opening the coaching carousel, or guys that had a bad year last year but they given one more chance and they need a QB. Like, where do you even turn to get a QB? Because if you don't get Mac Jones, I don't even know if you got somebody capable. Like, the Atlanta Falcons with Stefanski, which just came from a team that had 8 QBs under contract, to a team that has a top 10 pick that can't stay healthy and a 40-year-old quarterback that's making good money. So, like, it's another quarterback controversy he's thrown right back into for Stefanski. You know, and like, he's expected to come in and do more with it than Raheem Morris was able to do. I'm just interested to see how this free agent pool works, because there aren't any quarterbacks that a team could legitimately say. I honestly, Kyler Murray might be the sexiest pick, but then you have to give up draft capital to get him away from Arizona, and it's not like having a rookie contract that you can build around. He's already getting paid good money. So, like, what are these teams gonna do? And if you're a team that has a decent backup, like, you're probably holding on to them for dear life with an 18-week, 17-game season. With seeing, you know, Bo Nix get hurt on the last drive to send this team to the AFC Championship, you got to have a quality backup. Tennessee Titans don't have a quality backup. So, you know, this is going to be interesting. In 27, he said y'all draft another quarterback in this draft. No, I mean, if they did, I wouldn't be mad if like in the 7th round, if some QB from a Division 3 team that was 6'4", something, the prototype, got to be better than Brandon Allen and Tim Boyle. Peace of mind. Good luck on the Super Bowl, man. Y'all done. Y'all gonna speed past them Broncos with no Bo Nix. But that's a question though. If your team needs a QB and you're not the Raiders, where are you going in free agency or in the draft at QB? I mean, if you're the Cardinals or you the Jets, are you realistically thinking about blowing a top 2 or top 3 pick for Ty Sampson? Like, I can't be convinced of that. You know, like, best case scenario, if these teams had found somebody serviceable in free agency, but I don't even know who's actually serviceable.
Let me teach you how to
For you to
vibe.
say like maybe at the end of the first, beginning of the second, if he has a good combine, you could take a shot at
Let me
Trinidad
teach you
Chambers.
how to vibe.
Like I don't know, man. Like I don't see anything in this. Like Carson Beck, no. Like I don't see any QBs in this draft that any team could realistically throw a high value pick at outside of the first pick and somebody taking Mendoza. Because this was supposed to be the year, right? This is supposed to be the year tanking for QBs, and then this wound up being one of the thinnest QB classes. I don't even see anybody who got any accomplishments that I would want to draft. And like this free agent pool looks bad. I mean, like legitimately, like what's in this free agent pool of QBs? I'm about to pull it up. We're gonna go to Spotrac. We're gonna go to Spotrac and see, cause I just don't. I'm not buying it. Let's see, NFL. Oh my God, here you go. NFL free agents. QB. All right, 2026. Daniel Jones is not playing next year. Aaron Rodgers, gonna be 43 years old. Russell Wilson. Marcus Mariota might be the most like budget friendly, bang for your buck QB this free agent cycle. Zach Wilson, Tyrod Taylor, Joe Flacco will be 42. Kenny Pickett, Jimmy Garoppolo, still on the Rams, year 11. Mitch Trubisky, Case Keenum, Trey Lance, Carson Wentz, coming off yet another surgery. Brandon Allen, Josh Johnson, maybe Malik Willis. Maybe somebody throws a shot at Malik Willis. There is absolutely nothing in free agency for a team, even if a team had a lot of cap space. Like, who is it possible that in this pool right here that you would actually spend your money on if you was the team? Like, if you the Jets and you the Cardinals,
Let me teach you how to vibe.
and you can't draft number one and Mendoza's gone. What do you do? Bring back the real eight. I mean, what do you do? Like, I'm perplexed by this. If I was a team that needed a QB and I was a coach and I'm coaching for my life this season, or I'm a first year head coach and I don't have the draft capital to draft the top QB in the draft, with this year was going to be Mendoza. Like, what is your game plan? Because when you think about, like, at the top of the you think about the top of the league, NFL standings, whole league. Let's flip it to losses. I clicked on the wrong shit. Alright, let's go down here in order. I mean, the Cardinals need a QB because Kyler Murray, I don't think is gonna be there. The Jets need a QB. The Raiders need a QB.
Let me teach you how to vibe.
The Colts have to do something at quarterback. Atlanta Falcons, they don't know what they want to do at quarterback. The Vikings are in a pickle because they had 3 quarterbacks. Now they have JJ McCarthy in year 3. Pittsburgh Steelers, Aaron Rodgers. Mike Tomlin is out. Aaron Rodgers is 42. I don't know. Like, for some of these teams, they like are really in a bad situation when it comes to saying, like, who is going to be their quarterback next year. He said Malik gonna be the Dolphins. They just drafted Quinn Ewers and Tua is getting paid $1 gazillion, bro. Like, y'all gotta keep in mind, Tua is getting paid $1 gazillion, bro. Like, I'm not BSing, bro. Like, Tua's getting paid $1 gazillion, bro. So y'all gotta keep that in mind when we having these conversations. When you have a conversation with Buddha and we talking players, we gotta actually look at their contracts and the things that matter, right? Tua Tagovailoa with a $56 million cap hit. They don't have an out on him until next year.
Let me teach you how to vibe.
Tua's got a $56 million cap hit. So I mean, who's trading for Tua with his injury history? And they got Quinn Ewers. So like, I just don't see that. What's going on? Paradise Winterstorm. Not sure if you're gonna get hit by it or not. I don't know. I appreciate you checking in. Hope y'all all stay safe in this frigid, frosty weather that's coming. I'm asking though, honestly, like, bro, like, the Dolphins can't move him. Like the Cardinals have a better chance of moving Kyler Murray than the Dolphins do of moving Tua. Robert was good. Los. So that's my question of the day, man. Like, if your team is not the Raiders, and even the Raiders draft a QB, Geno Smith is still gonna be there sucking up $37 million.
Let me teach you how to vibe.
You know what I'm saying? You can have a $37 million clipboard holder. Only good thing about that is if your rookie is not ready, if they draft Mendoza and they feel like he's not ready to go to start the season, they can play Geno Smith. They can do that. That is an option. That's what I'm saying, Hendrix. Like, Dolphins is stuck with Tua. Giants trading Wilson to the Jets for a draft pick. Russell Wilson's a free agent. Y'all don't have him under contract. Try again.
Oh shit! Here we go again.
Yeah, Russell Wilson is not Russell Wilson is a free agent, so you can't trade a guy that's already a free agent. He's no longer under contract. So like the Jets have, like, think about it. Just think about what you just said. The Jets, who just gave Justin Fields $14 million a year for 2 years, still has Justin Fields there, and now you're gonna bring in Russell Wilson and pay him $15-20 million to come, and you're gonna have the same situation Pittsburgh had 2 years ago. Is Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. Like, we've already seen that story before. Your Bears, you had them. Stop running. And the thing about it, piece of man, is like, you bringing in Jeff Hafley. Like, what does Jeff Hafley want to do? Does he want to go to Quinn Ewers? Does he want to roll Tua back out there? Like, are they changing the offense? It's so much stuff. Yeah, I seen Ben Johnson going off about back to school. Now, nothing much. Like, so far, Salah has. Yeah, otherwise, Denard being gone. Jets need to draft a QB. And who, though? That's the point, though, Hendrix. I'm asking the question of, is the Jets gonna burn the number 2 pick in the draft on Ty Simpson or Trinidad Chambliss? Because Dante Moore kind of threw a monkey wrench in the whole situation and saying, he basically said, I don't want to go to the Jets. He went back, he went back to Oregon. So that puts them in a spin of saying, for sure, the Cardinals or the Jets was gonna try to draft Dante Moore, but now he went back to school. I don't see the Jets burning number 2 on Ty Simpson or Trinidad Chambliss. He said, isn't Jameis Winston free? But I'm saying, like, if you're a new coach and, like, Jameis Winston is cool if you draft a young quarterback and you need a solid veteran in the locker room. We're talking about the Jets. Aaron Glenn, if he don't win games this season, is going to be out. The Cardinals is going to have a new head coach, and they just got passed. Robert Saleh just passed up on them for the Titans. And they still have to make a decision on Kyler Murray by mid-March, or they're going to lose another $18 million. So whoever the head coach is, when you hire him in the next week, has to come in and make a decision on, do they believe in Kyler Murray and is he the guy or not? Because you're gonna eat. Like, think about what kind of player you can get next year with $18 million. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's a lot of capital for a team trying to rebuild and compete. And they're in the West. So this the 49ers, the Seahawks, and the Rams out there. So it's not like they just get to, shoot around. He said they shouldn't, but I think they are. But that's going to be so much of a reach to take either one of them at 2. He said I wouldn't if I was the Jets. But I'm saying, like, there's Mac Jones, Marcus Mariota, and Malik Willis. Because Daniel Jones is out. So, like, the Colts didn't have him under contract. But they still have Riley Leonard and Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson is in year 4. Will Levis will be in year 4. And Will Levis and Anthony Richardson will be coming off an injury. So, like, are you the Colts? Are you going to ride out year 4 Anthony Richardson as your game plan for Shane Steichen that would probably get him fired? If you another team, do you trade a 4th or 5th round pick to get Will Levis? Do you trade, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's some tough calls out there. Like Davis Mills off the Texans. Like, if CJ Stroud continued to play the way he did in the playoffs, like, Davis Mills will be the starter. If they do, they should trade back for more picks. I do hope Ewers get an honest shot, but I think Hafley is great. Don't think Hafley is great either, so we'll see. I mean, Hafley is a defensive-minded guy, but I mean, Tua is getting paid a gob of money, so, like, I don't see somebody having a $50 million paperweight on the bench. Chambliss didn't get granted another year in college. I don't think so. We're looking to trade Drew Lock for the number 1 pick. Aria. I don't think we're going to trade Mac Jones unless someone offers us something we can't pass up. Kyle wants Mac Jones around. By being like, Brock Purdy is y'all guy. I understand having Mac Jones for security as a security blanket, but I mean, let's look at what he looking like. I mean, y'all got Mac Jones under contract for $4 million. I mean, if Mac Jones walked in the office and said, like, he's 28. Let's say the Jets, let's say the Raiders don't want number 1. Let's say the Cardinals, any of these teams that's in dire need of a QB, the Pittsburgh Steelers still got to make a decision. Is Will Howard going to be their QB of the future? Like, somebody would be willing to trade them a nice draft pick and extend him up until he's 30 years old, put 2 more years on this, and give him a bag, so to speak. Like, that's a tough situation, man. Like, if you the Niners, you can get instant draft capital because people are in such a bad need of quarterbacks, because there's not hardly any, like, NFL ready QBs coming out of the draft. And then when you look at the free agent pool, this is nothing, bro. Like, Aaron Rodgers probably retires. Daniel Jones is not playing next year. Who is finna bring in Russell Wilson or Marcus Mariota? If you on the hot seat coaching, or you're a first year coach, and you see Russell Wilson, Marcus Mariota, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, and Jimmy Garoppolo as your top options, like, you in a bind, dog. Dabo's next OC once thoughts if it's all I can get it here. I would definitely take Dabo as OC. Why does McCarthy want to be Pittsburgh coach? They got plenty cap. They don't have a franchise QB or a wide receiver outside of DK, and their D-line nice. I guess their D-line nice. I don't know. Like, I don't know anybody's motivation. But honestly, though, piece of man, like, pushing Mike Tomlin out to hire Mike McCarthy would be like hustling backwards in every sense of the word. If I'm the Jets, I'm taking a chance on Mac 10, and I hope he goes on a revenge tour in the AFC East. I mean, like, legitimately, like, if I'm the Jets and I could send if I'm the Jets and I could send a 4th or a 5th rounder to get Mac Jones and still have 2 first-round draft picks from the trades that they already have made, it's worth it. Mac Jones would get him some stability. And then like if they could get like a Trinidad Chambliss or somebody later in the rounds, a developmental type of guy, and then just go ahead and cut Justin Fields would be the best situation for them. Dre, what up? Mac is worth more money as a free agent. They can't pay it. But I'm saying like Mac Jones is under contract with the 49ers for another year. So that puts the 49ers in the position to benefit. That would be a conversation between Lynch and Mac Jones and Kyle Shanahan and saying, hey, y'all, it's some teams that want him to start. But I think they would. I agree with you, though. I think they would send him to the AFC. And there's no way that you take Mac Jones and then trade him in the NFC and have to play him. Only idiot franchises do that. I think Kyle just wants a decent backup ready to go, but Lynch did say there was for a trade option with Mac Jones. It's fair to Mac Jones after the year he had. I think he handled it well. And if you can get draft capital back off of a $4 million contract, you do it. I watched him firsthand for years when he was coaching with Boston College. He's okay. Hope he's better NFL. He coaching is in college. He's pretty good. DC though. But I just thought this would be a very interesting conversation of who do you like all the. I remember all the Titan pages that said Abdul Carter, he's generational. Now, if we wouldn't have taken Cam Ward, we would have been better served letting Will Levis play year 4 off of injury. Like, can anybody disagree with that? If the Tennessee Titans didn't draft Cam Ward last year and they took Abdul Carter and it was in this situation this year, best case scenario for them is Will Levis came back healthy and under different leadership played completely different. Like truly matured as a quarterback year 4. Like that's their only hope, because like for the Jets, the Cardinals, you know, these teams that finished in the top 10 that need QBs, the Raiders are probably going to burn number 1 on Mendoza, but outside of that, with Dante Moore not coming out, it just puts some teams in some weird spots for having a new coach come into Arizona, not knowing the quarterback situation at all. You know, like that's just like Aaron Glenn's job's on the line, and he's either gonna have to try to find a free agent QB that can keep him competitive, because or they're gonna burn the number 2 pick on Ty Simpson. Like I can't be sold on that. Abdul Carter would probably been doing drive-bys with L'Jarius Sneed. Oh my God, man! I mean, don't get me started on that. Charles D. Bob, what up? That's the question though. Like, so many people were saying that was the wrong pick, and obviously now it's like the most perfect pick, because, like, let's say the pool does grow, and the Falcons make a decision what they're gonna do at QB. If they decide, if Stefanski decides to go with Kirk Cousins, what do you do with Michael Penix? Nobody's trading for Michael Penix with his injury history. Like, nobody's taking that type of chance. He said, just seeing into another terrible situation. No, I was been a believer in Mac. Wouldn't have failed him if we did fail him. Grant work out because Drake gonna be top 5. I mean, it's a everybody was dogging out this past year's draft class at QBs until now they're looking and saying the Seahawks got Sam Darnold and Jalen Milroe gets to truly develop. Did the Steelers spend any development on Will Howard, seeing as a new coach is coming in? I couldn't believe, let's say Chris Shula or Kubiak takes over the Steelers. I just don't see a world where they come in and say, yeah, like, we're going to roll with Mason Rudolph and Will Howard next year and try to figure it out. Like, you know, Steelers are in a situation like Aaron Rodgers. Does he retire now that Mike Tomlin is out and ride off into the sunset? I mean, it's just some weird situations out here for these teams. Like Dolphins in a conundrum. They just have to ride Tua. Jeff Halfley have to ride Tua and continue developing Quinn Ewers. I mean, the Rams got 2
Let
first
me
round
teach
picks.
you
They
how
got
to
a luxury
vibe.
pick. The Rams could say, you know what? They could burn their true pick on Trinidad Chambliss and just let him sit behind Matt Stafford if they wanted to. If that because they got 2 first, they got the Atlanta Falcons pick, and then they got their own pick. So like, this is gonna be weird. Like I've never seen an offseason this weird with double-digit coaches getting let go, longest tenure coaches getting let go. Everybody who they thought was going to be the top of this QB class, all flopped. Drew Aller, Cade Klubnik, Carson Beck, Lenora Sellers. Like nobody's looking at any of these guys like they first round picks that somebody is truly looking at to come change their franchise. And like nobody even thought that Ty Simpson would finish the season. Now they're trying to sell Ty Simpson on being a franchise changing QB. Which Ty Simpson can't really throw it, but you know, was he hurt down the stretch for Alabama? He did not have a good second half of the season. Took a lot of bad hits. Just wasn't himself the second half of the season. So like, was that an injury, or was that just him hitting a wall? Like, who knows? I don't know if people see it though, but Cam Ward is hungry to be great. He's the most perfect fit for y'all for sure. Now I got your head coach. Y'all building a culture one brick at a time. See, people didn't realize like they took Cam Ward because of his mentality. Like he's got a blue collar mentality. Jeff Simmons has a blue collar mentality. Robert Saleh has a blue collar mentality, and I think that's what they're trying to build back in Tennessee. So like Cam Ward is like insanely focused on being good at the game. In the second half of the season,
Let me
showed
teach
that
you how to vibe.
NFL offseason looked like the NBA offseason from 14 to 19. I love it though. Yeah, I mean it's a lot of this. But I'm so interested, bro. Like what do these teams do? What do these teams do? Like what do the Cardinals do? What do the Jets do? You know, these teams is really sitting at the top of the NFL draft. And it's multiple teams that got multiple first rounds, and we still haven't even and we still got several teams. We still have several teams that don't have a that don't have a head coach. Like that's a whole nother piece to the puzzle, is how many teams is still sitting out here without a head coach. Yeah, he really was. He really was a disrespected first round pick. But I mean, it's the Tennessee Titans. We all Titan fans know this how it go down if you a Tennessee Titan, bro. Like love, respect. We don't get that. Where is this I know I got it. I know I got it saved. Where is that coaching I thought I reshared it. Oh no, I know who got it. Adam Schefter got it. Everybody withdrawing their name from the Browns. They must not like what's being the bill of goods that's being sold over there. All right, here it is. I thought I had to say Jesse Minter to the Ravens, Harbaugh to the Giants, Stefanski to the Falcons, Jeff Hafley to the Dolphins, and Robert Saleh to the Titans. Now, another folk, I'm on y'all neck. I know it was a bunch of y'all out here screaming for Kevin Stefanski. The Titans would be crazy not to get Kevin Stefanski. It's the Stefanski. And then he went right over there and hired the Callahans and his coaching staff, and he just took everything from Cleveland over there to Atlanta. He just like, okay, Titans, you dodge a bullet. The guy that a lot of y'all wanted got hired in Atlanta, and the first thing he did was hire somebody we just fired, bro. Like, Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, what is he gonna do if Stefanski could have got hired in Nashville? Is he hiring Bill Callahan back, giving him his office back? What are we talking about? Titans dodged the bullet. No, Myles Garrett had a chance to lead last year. He took the bag. So just think, the Raiders, who picking first and probably gonna get Mendoza, don't even have a coach yet. So like that probably is muddy in the waters that the coach knows I'm coming in. I don't have a choice in the matter, but I'm going to be coaching Fernando Mendoza next season. The Cardinals, the coach that takes that job has to figure out in a matter of like 3 weeks what they gonna do with Kyler Murray. Like, my bad, not 3 weeks, but 6 weeks. They got to figure out what they're gonna do with Kyler Murray. The Browns, you're gonna have the Shador Dylan Gabriel situation is gonna be thrust at your lap if you take that job. Who knows what the ownership is telling them what they want to do? You know, the ownership might be telling the new head coach, Shador is your number one quarterback. The front office might be saying Shador ain't the guy. We want to move on from him. We want to trade him. Like, then imagine taking that job and they trading Shador, and then you sitting there with Dylan Gabriel, y'all looking across from each other, and there's no QBs that you could draft or free agents that you could pair with him. You're not bringing Jameis Winston back to the Browns. It's like, it just, you know, Joe Flacco not coming back to the Browns, Kenny Pickett not coming back to the Browns. So it's like, you know, in the top 20 quarterback free agents, like 3 or 4 of them you just got rid of them. Yeah, he do, Hendricks. Then you think about the Steelers legacy franchise, probably gonna get Kubiak or Shula, or you know, because I thought Flores would be hard up after one of those jobs, but now what are the Steelers gonna do that Aaron Rodgers is out and you got Will Howard and Mason Rudolph sitting there? Like, what do you have really to work with? Then the Bills gonna hire a coach. It's Josh Allen there, but like, if Daboll wants that job so bad, if you get there, you responsible for Josh Allen going back to MVP form and winning games in the postseason and getting to the AFC Championship, ultimately the Super Bowl, a place they've never been. It's a lot of pressure for the coaches that's taking over. You know, like they inheriting situations where, like, the pieces to the puzzle have already been laid for them. You know, Jesse Minter's gonna have to figure out a way to get the most out of Lamar and keep him healthy. You know, Harbaugh is gonna have to keep Jackson Dart healthy, and he's expected to make Jackson Dart get better. You know, like these are the things. You know, Stefanski's got to figure out: is it Michael Penix Jr. or is it Kirk Cousins? Like, and keep in mind, the Falcons don't have a first round pick. Falcons do not have a first round pick. Their first round pick is owned by the Rams. So here's the crazy part about all of it is, when you factor in the draft, the free agent pool that's very thin this year, in a draft where we still got to get to the Senior Bowl and the Combine before people really make up their mind about what the top 10,
Let me teach you how to vibe.
15 picks and the end of the first round look like. It's so many players that are like, look like second rounders that could be first, and there's so many people that people are high on, hyping up that's first, that gonna struggle to get, you know. It's gonna be interesting. Daboll wants to build jobs so he can be like, see, I can coach, I have a great QB. Falcons had no first round pick. Pistons are free agents, they have little cap money and a mess at QB. And the crazy part is, there are people in my comments that are like, oh, Robert Saleh, like, why wouldn't Robert Saleh want to coach in Nashville? If you're a defensive minded guy, you go into a team that wants to be built on defense, you're going to have a clean slate of money and about 10 draft picks to go in and do whatever you want to do with that defense, who have a lot of really good pieces. It's just the fact that they haven't been able to have any continuity at cornerback for obvious reasons. I shouldn't have to go back down those list of reasons of why Tennessee Titans played 17 different defensive backs this past year. So it's like he'll be able to get him an identity and a scheme. They'll be on a 4-man front instead of a 3-man, which would be harder to double team Jeffrey Simmons. So, I mean, that's the interesting part, is that people don't realize when you're looking at these jobs, there are some jobs that have drawbacks. If you was a family person and you was taking a job, would you want to live with your wife and kids in Las Vegas? Not necessarily. You know, in the Cardinals, you take the job, you have to deal with the Kyler Murray situation. You know, and there's no it's not like it's 2 or 3 different quarterbacks that's coming out guaranteed to be first round, top 5, top 10 picks. That's not the case. Then the Steelers, with Aaron Rodgers likely retiring and Mike Tomlin out, it's big shoes to fill if you can't have a winning season as a new coach with a, you know what I'm saying? Guy that went 20 years without having a losing season, and you come right in and have a bad season with Will Howard and Mason Rudolph and no strong draft capital to where you could legitimately be taking a QB, because it's nothing for them to be for. It's nothing there. You know, these are interesting situations. Small media team, he won't be in the headlines. No noise. You know, that's kind of my question of like the decisions that these teams make. So who is it? Like, what do you do if you those teams? If the Raiders fell into the perfect situation to try to turn it around. So like, let's just look at round 1. Like, let's just say we all feel that Mendoza is going to the Raiders. You know, for the teams that need QBs, the Jets, the Cardinals, the Vikings is stuck with J.J. McCarthy. The Pittsburgh Steelers. Like, look, like when you go to offense and click on QB, like, look at where they got these QBs ranked at. We just looked at the free agent pool. So, like, Ty Simpson is looked at as the 20th overall pick. A late first rounder for Ty Simpson, and Trinidad Chambliss is graded out like, you know, to be a 4th round pick. With Garrett Nussmeier, Taylor Green, Carson Beck, Sawyer Robertson, Cade Klubnik. Bro, look at this, man. This is just, I don't know, bro. That's just such a bad pool. To look at the top 5 quarterbacks is Ty Simpson, Trinidad Chambliss, Garrett Nussmeier, Taylor Green, to try to turn it around. When you look at free agency and say the best you could do is Mac Jones, Mariota, or Malik Willis, or you could trade and lose draft capital to get Will Levis, or, you know, if somebody wanted to trade for Anthony Richardson, who knows? And those same people were saying we can get a QB next year, man. The draft class is gonna be so deep. Don't take Cam Ward, take generational Abdul Carter. You know, then you got the guys in the comments telling me that we should for sure take Carnell Tate or Jordan Tyson at 4, because in his mind, Makai Lemon, Casey Concepcion, Denzel Boston, Chris Bell, Elijah Surratt, Jacoby Lane, Chris Brazel, Jeremy Bernard, he said all these guys are going to be basically the 5th receiver on the practice squad of the NFL teams they play for that they're all gonna be trash if you don't pick Jordan Tyson or Carnell Tate. It's like, what world what rock have you been living under? It's like, bro, like there are going to be some guys down here that are late round picks, and I know what it is. People get to thinking about like Dez Fitzpatrick, as they say in the comments. I'm like, the problem ain't Dez Fitzpatrick or waiting till later. The problem is there's a team full of scouts that was looking at rosters and decided we're going to take Fitzpatrick over Amon-Ra St. Brown. Like, bro, like there's always going to be great receivers that ain't first round picks. I mean, Hendricks, he was so confused. I said, bro, you're literally confused. It's like, this is a deep class of wide receiver. He's telling me edge is deep. Man, when you get past Ruben Bain and Arvell Reese, people getting high on David Bailey now. I think Keldrick Faulk could turn into something crazy. You know, TJ Parker is a fringe first rounder. Outside of that, it ain't no guarantees. I like Zion Young and Dennis Sutton, but there's no guarantee you finna be able to get somebody that's gonna make some noise on the edge past them first few picks. And I was like, it's a lot of corners out there because nobody's rated like a Pat Surtain or somebody like a top 5 corner coming out. That's like everybody's really kind of down to the middle and end of the first round. Like now, it is a pretty good bit of corners and safeties, but far as like somebody sending them dogs, nah. And that was my whole point. And Hendricks, people is like, how can you compare Ruben Bain to Dwight Freeney? Like, because Dwight Freeney is actually smaller than Ruben Bain. And all I'm going to hear y'all talk about is Ruben Bain's size. You're going to talk about his arms. But it depends on what Saleh likes. I just think if it ain't edge at 4, you the Titans, you got to trade back. Because in my opinion, I said if this was Jeremiah Smith and not Carnell Tate, I would tell the Tennessee Titans to burn number 4 in a heartbeat. I just don't know about burning number 4 for Carnell Tate. I just don't. And you still got free agency, so there's still Dobbs, there's still Alec Pierce. There's still gonna be some good edges in free agency. Just gotta strike when you get your opportunity, bro. People are slow. I'm sorry they don't know ball. Arguing with casuals. I don't be arguing with them. I just ask them questions they can't answer. So it's like, bro, like you have to look at people. And this is another thing. There was people saying like at the beginning of this coaching cycle before it spun out of control, people were saying, yo, Robert Saleh with the 49ers is going to be somebody's great next head coach. He's fiery. He always got like a top 5 defense. This guy was done wrong in the Jets, and his next opportunity is going to be great. Then he doesn't go to Arizona. He stays and has a great visit in Nashville. And for people that don't know about the Titans, knowing that they're going to have $120 million in cap space, about 10 draft picks, they got Cam Ward, Jeff Simmons, and a new stadium coming with a new GM that seems to have his head on straight. Why wouldn't he want to come to Nashville and thrust himself with a team that's got, you know, holes in tough places with no way out? You know, they're up the creek without a paddle. Then the Tennessee Titans don't hire Matt Nagy. Everybody was ready to troll the Titans for hiring Matt Nagy so they could say Bergonzi's just hiring his boy. He sucks. And, you know, Cam Ward's going to be ruined with Nagy. He couldn't do nothing with the Chiefs. They was just getting ready for all that content. And then when Robert Saleh falls in love and stays in Nashville, now all of a sudden Robert Saleh's a bad fit for Cam Ward. He's defense. He got a first round pick. Like, come on, bro. Like, at some point, y'all got to make up your mind. You know what I'm saying? Because I guarantee you, if Robert Saleh would have went to the Bills, oh, watch out now. You know, if he would have, if he, if Robert Saleh would have been with the Steelers, oh, I'm telling you, he's gonna have the steel curtain. But he come to Tennessee, it's not gonna work because he's defense and Cam Ward is offense. Even though they spent the last 16 weeks telling us we needed a leader of men and a physical presence in Tennessee that can hold people accountable, and then they go get somebody that embodies just that thing. And now Robert Saleh sucks, and him and Cam Ward ain't gonna be able to get along. You know, Corey, that's all I'm saying is like I just get so tired of the narrative changing, the goalposts being moved. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like it's like almost like counterintelligence. Let's say the Tennessee Titans did hire Robert Saleh, and let's say the Buffalo Bills pass on Dabo, and Dabo is the OC in Nashville this coming season. And let's say they do get Ruben Bain, and he does turn into a goon on the edge next to Jeffrey Simmons. And they do because now they got a coach that got a notoriety of being a solid defensive mind. Let's say they do draft some DBs and get some DBs in free agency and keep Darrell Baker Jr. and maybe one more other guy on roster. And the Tennessee Titans has actual talent on defense. Then what is it going to be to say? It's always something with the Tennessee Titans. If the Tennessee Titans make the right move, everybody's quiet. You know what I'm saying? It's bad. Y'all need to take a receiver. I was like, okay, we did that with Corey Davis. Y'all need to take the talent regardless of the health. Okay, we did that with Caleb Farley. Where did that get us? It's like you can't just be reaching for need because we need a number one receiver. Like I said, and I say it 1,000 times, if that was Jeremiah Smith, I would have no problem with the Tennessee Titans burning the 4th pick on Jeremiah Smith. But it's not. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not that. So it's just sad that people don't keep up with enough. That's why I made that post to say that most of the national media just don't keep up with the Tennessee Titans. They still talking about Vrabel like he wasn't in Cleveland last year. You know what I'm saying? Like they talk about Vrabel as if he just got fired, bro. That was like 3 years ago. Like a lot of time has passed in between it. Next year gonna be fun. Sucker that game. You know I got you. Okay, for sure. We know how this goes, Corey. Yo, Becker still stalking the Titans guy, Robert Saleh. So this all right, so this is my thing. Becker, you a Cardinal fan. What on earth are y'all gonna do at QB this year? I was just talking with the chat. That's the shop talk, question of the day is, we already pulled up Spotrac. Like the free agent pool of QBs is so thin with like Mac Jones and Mariota and Malik Willis being at the top of the list with Daniel Jones' injury and Aaron Rodgers likely retiring. Like there will probably be, little to no room, for y'all to be able to wiggle and try to figure the QB situation out. And when you look at the Jets are in the same position because Dante Moore not coming out just threw a monkey wrench in a bunch of things because, if the QBs behind Mendoza is Ty Simpson, Trinidad Chambliss, and Garrett Nussmeier, like the drop off is so bad that like either somebody's gonna try to trade in and get Mac Jones or Davis Mills off the Texans. But the way CJ Stroud play, I definitely don't see them getting rid of trading away Davis Mills now. So like what do the Cardinals do? What do the Jets do at QB? They're in some tough situations. Honestly, I have no idea what they're going to do at QB and probably won't know until after the head coach is hired. But that slows down the head coaching process for y'all is that imagine the coach coming in the interview is explain to me it's like why this right here? Why is this here? Yeah, a tough scene in Arizona. That's what I'm saying. Like, because it's a hard sell. Like, if you a first year coach and it's your first time and you coming in to take over a team and you don't have a young QB you grooming, or you don't have a veteran that you can at least bridge the first half of the year with, like, there really no real options to sell to a head coach taking the Cardinals job. Because you got to make a decision on Kyler Murray in 6 weeks on whether you're gonna stick with him. If you move him, you got to move him before the middle of March, or you lose another almost $20 million. Like, they're in a bad situation, and with more going back to school, it's just widening the gap. Because I can't foresee the Cardinals or the Jets taking Ty Simpson at 2 and 3. I just can't see it. Nobody can make me believe it, and I believe in Ty. Ty can really spin it, but you know the way he looked the second half of the season, whether he was hurt or just wasn't playing his best, like, he definitely did not put on the show you needed to see to make him go from that status he's in to people legitimately saying, "Yo, he's gonna be a top 5, top 10 pick." Like, I could see Ty Simpson falling like bottom of the first or the second. It's a situation that Trinidad Chambliss could pull a Jackson Dart on him and have a really good combine and jump Ty Simpson. Say intern for it. I need the booth open to be able to dissect this situation. All right, I'm gonna hit the button. Hold up. Say less. All right, I hit the button. There it is. Head coach comes to Arizona. They're gonna be interviewing Arizona about Kyler instead. Exactly, because you gotta lay out the plan for what's gonna happen and what you walking yourself into. Like, who's really walking into that situation not knowing what the ownership wants to do? Like, Stefanski taking the Falcons, what was the conversation of what they're gonna do with Kirk Cousins and Michael Penix? Like, he can't possibly be leaving Cleveland with 8 quarterbacks under contract and having a Dylan Gabriel, Shador situation to come and have the same situation over with Michael Penix and Kirk Cousins. Becker. It did, Hendricks. It's like Indiana had it where he didn't even score. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you had 3 points in a playoff game. It's going to be a hard sell to an owner that you're going to take a real reach of taking him high in the first round. Let's see.
Let me teach you how to vibe.
Becker. I see the mic moving, but I don't hear nothing. You might have yourself muted. Let me see. Because I got the volume up on you on my side. He didn't hit that foot pedal. Is Mike lighting up, but I don't hear nothing. I don't know what's going on. Can you hear me? He said, could it be the scene I'm in? Nah, cause he in the background. You can hear me, but I can't hear you. Let me see something. Go. Say something.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like the old Verizon commercial. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
And it's probably on streamer mode or something. I had to go like deep in the settings.
I was like, did you have another update on there and it didn't even notify you?
Yeah, it probably had an update.
Everything,
Because
all our
it
computer
had
stuff
it
always
had on
updated.
NVIDIA instead of having you on the Go XLR.
Mm.
There we go. EJ, what up? All right, so let's get to the dissection of Becker's gonna run down what coaching candidates are left as finalists and what is the front office of the Cardinals telling him the plan is to the situation that is more goes back to school. The Jets are in front of you with 2 first-round picks, and the Cardinals are at 3. And I would have a hard. I'm gonna start by asking you this first. I have a hard time believing that Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch would trade Mac Jones in division to y'all.
No, that's not gonna happen. I can tell you that for certainty. There's no way Mac Jones is gonna get traded in the division. Not after, especially what he did in filling in for Purdy. There's absolutely no way they're gonna trade him, and especially trade him in division. So that's you can put that to rest easily.
All right, so from looking at Spotrac of all the free agent QBs, which is probably the thinnest set of free agent QBs I've seen in a like last year was like Sam Darnold, Dan Jones, like it was a lot of people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like this year, you're gonna laugh. All right, Daniel Jones ain't playing next year. Aaron
No,
Rodgers is
he's gonna
gonna
miss
be
all year.
43. He may retire. You got Russell Wilson, Marcus Mariota, Zach Wilson, and Malik Willis is the top free agent, the top free agent QBs, and probably the most sought after person is already on your roster, but you can't let him get to mid March.
Yep.
So what would you do? You the GM. You interviewing a head coach, and the head coach got questions. Hey GM Becker, like, what's the QB situation like draft wise, and what is it like in free agency? Like, what's y'all playing?
Yeah, so if you're going to look at the draft this season, obviously we got the number 3 pick, we got pick number 34, and we got the first pick of the 3rd round. So there is draft capital there to be made. Like, I don't think they're going to move off of 3 this year, even though our GM has got a history of wheeling and dealing on the draft night. But given the absolute thin roster of quarterbacks that's coming out in this class, I mean, after Mendoza, you really only got 2 options you're looking at that could be in that possibility of a late round, first round pick, or a beginning of the 2nd round, and that's Simpson or Trinidad Chambliss. And we don't even know what Chambliss's situation is going to be because he's got the lawsuit that he's trying to file with the NCAA right now. So you package all that in, you got a situation where the whole NFL league is basically telling the Arizona Cardinals organization, one, we don't really give a damn what y'all do down there because you guys have a notorious history of being one of the oldest franchises in the entire NFL, and you are now tied already with the Houston Texans for the least amount of playoff wins in all of the NFLs. Of every NFL team in the league, we are tied with the Houston Texans at 8 wins in the playoffs in our entire history. Texas only been around for 23 years now. We've been around for over 100. You've dating back before the Super Bowl era. You have this stigma about your franchise about being just a badly run franchise. You have really, outside of Bruce Arians and Ken Wisenhunt, you've become the staple of a team that nobody is going to want to go to. You're in a very difficult division. Some would say probably the most difficult division in the NFL. I mean, we saw 3 of the final 4 teams in the NFC playoffs this year were
Jason,
from the
appreciate the
NFC
sub on
West,
YouTube.
and the final 2 in the NFC Championship are from the West. So you're going to have that stigma. You're going to have to, proceed with caution when trying to find someone. Hey, who wants to come in here and compete in this, gauntlet of a division? And with you having that stigma of being a franchise that's not any good and constantly rotating through coaches, and you're in this situation now where you've fallen with your franchise quarterback to the point where the relationship's not repairable at this point. Kyler doesn't want to stay in Arizona. The front office has already made the plans to move on from him, so there's going to be no repairing that relationship. It's just time for both parties to go their separate ways. Let the franchise try to find their answer at quarterback and let Kyler start his career over and see if he can get a second renaissance wherever that he lands. So you look at the free agent class and then you look at the quarterback class. It's going to be very, very difficult to try to sell that to any of these established coaches. That's why, yes, you might have reached out to a John Harbaugh for a phone call. Never took you seriously as a place that he would go. Robert Saleh, maybe you had him interested because of the pieces you had on defense, but what was the stigma that cost him his job in New York? Quarterback play.
QB.
So why would he want to go? It's his second chance. Might be his last chance at being a head coach in this league. Why would you want to go to New York to do New York Jets Part 2?
Don't make sense.
It don't make no sense. So let me go to a franchise where, yes, there's a lot of pieces that need to be filled on both sides of the ball, but I know I got my quarterback and I have some pieces I can start building around. So that's an easy sell compared to what you got over here where, yes, we have lots of good pieces, but the most important piece that we don't have is quarterback because everybody knows. I mean, it's basically well known. Kyler's not going to be here. Whether we trade him or cut him, he will not be on the roster by the 5th day of the league year in March. I can guarantee you that.
You know what makes it worse for y'all?
Mm-hmm.
The Bills and the Steelers are available.
Exactly.
So the best two coaches that haven't got jobs are still coaching right now, Kubiak, Chris Shula, are probably gonna go there, and they probably telling Daboll in New York, we really want a chance to interview Shula or Kubiak, or even Joe Brady. But
yeah,
it might be a situation where they're telling Daboll like, you gotta wait, like you gonna be there because like we'll take our chances that Kubiak or Chris Shula is not turning down the Bills or the Steelers.
Yeah, and that's the thing when you fall under when you want these different coordinators that you were very interested in, but they're still in the playoffs. You can't officially interview them, and even if you want to give them the job, until they're out of the playoffs, you can't officially announce that they've either accepted or you're going to offer them the job. So I know from everything that they've been discussed is they are very infatuated with the two coordinators in Los Angeles. They are really interested in Mike LaFleur, the offensive coordinator, and Chris Shula, the defensive coordinator.
But what's tough is going past the Bills and Steelers being better jobs.
Let me teach you how to vibe.
Then you have the Raiders of the three teams left who have the number one pick in Tom Brady running the show. And
like if you would have just be able to have that number one pick or at least some kind of semblance of what you're going to be at quarterback,
right,
it's going to make this job that much more appealing. And that's like even with the Raiders, as much of a dumpster fire as they have been for 20 plus years now, they got the number one pick. They're going to get their quarterback, and they have now Tom Brady, involved in all the operations that are going on. So you have something that you can build from there. You have some of the pieces. You have the running back in Genty. You have a stud tight end in Brock Bowers. There's pieces that you can work with. But really the most important one being the number one pick.
It is that. And then if the Browns, who another dumpster fire, but the Browns are about to be away from the Deshaun Watson situation. Stefanski's out. You got the Shadur Gabriel situation to deal with. But the one thing the Browns have that the other teams don't is the Browns have 2 first-round picks. So, if I'm selling the Browns, I'm like, hey, this other team don't got it figured out. You get Shadur Sanders in 2 first.
You got 2 first-round picks, and you have a Super Bowl caliber defense on the other side of the ball.
And if it's a defensive-minded coach that's taking the interview, like Shula, like you're gonna get the best defensive player in football to start, and then like that's the interesting thing about this coaching carousel with having so many teams have coaches open and the free agent QB pool being so small and the draft class. Now, let me throw another monkey wrench. Let me throw another monkey wrench. Let's say Trinidad Chambers wins his appeal and goes back to college. We talking about going from Fernando Mendoza to Ty Simpson to Garrett Nussmeier.
It's bad. I mean, it's really like this was the one time when it was really not a good idea to be bad and need a quarterback, i.e., Jets, Cardinals, Browns. You know, all these teams that are still looking for that franchise quarterback. This was the worst possible time. If you were going to be bad, you needed to be the Raiders. You needed to have that number one pick.
And that's kind of been my thing is for all the people that was Abdul Carter, don't take Cam Ward. And this is where I get to.
Yeah. Could you imagine going into this draft if you had Abdul Carter and you did not have Cam Ward and you, like I said, like you talked about, what if you drafted Abdul Carter, just ran it with, you know, Mason Rudolph and Brandon Allen, and then you come into this draft. What if you didn't get number one again? What if you were number 2 or 3? You're gonna be right back in that same situation.
You know, to me, in a worse situation, because when you had one, you get to control who you're gonna have as the face of your franchise at QB. If it would have been this year, the best case scenario would have been the Titans saying, "Let Will Levis be 100% healthy." But I don't think you get Robert Saleh to sign into Nashville if his first year is we're gonna see if Will Levis can figure it out year 4.
Exactly.
You know, like that's a hard sale, man. Like, because then
at that point, if you're Robert Saleh, you're just gonna go back and be the DC in San Francisco because you know what you got, you know what the pieces are coming back, and you wait for another job next year.
Because you're now, because Bones Fossil is the special teams coach. He's been retained. They let Denard Wilson go. And now is if he does hire an OC, imagine if you were Dabo or you Kingsbury and Robert Saleh calls you and they're like, "So what y'all gonna do at quarterback?" He's like, "We're gonna roll Will Levis year 4." They probably hang up on you. You know, it's like, and the thing about it is, I think Will Levis, somebody trading to get him and giving him another shot and drafting somebody in the later rounds. Like if Will Levis went to the Pittsburgh Steelers, or he went even to y'all, or it's a lot of teams he would go to and be the best option.
Oh yeah, because like I said, no matter what the memes and the funny quips that they want to make about Will Levis, the last year that Vrabel was in Tennessee when he had him his rookie year, there was some flashes that you could see an NFL caliber starting quarterback from Will Levis. The problem is the following season you fire Mike Vrabel, you bring in Brian Callahan, and it completely, as you see, it completely stunted his growth because even when you bring in Cam Ward, when Brian Callahan was there, you didn't see the maturation. You didn't see, you know, Cam be able to take those next steps and learning the position as a, you know, professional. It took Callahan leaving before you saw Cam let the game come to him, slow it down. Like you said, he went, almost the last 2 months of the season without turning the ball over.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't happen if Callahan's still there, more than likely. So I would not mind at all if they took a flyer on a Will Levis to give him an opportunity to see what he has coming off a year where he, you know, he's going to be healed up. He's going to be ready to go. You know, give the kid a shot to see, because like I said, your options, you don't have a lot of them. Are you going to go and give Malik Willis $100 million and hope to pray that maybe his time in Green Bay has allowed him to take that next step to be a starting quarterback in the NFL? Because we've seen he can do great things in the backup role. Man, but when you give him the keys to the kingdom, what's going to happen? Are you willing to invest $100 million and just to give that a role?
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
Hey, look, this got to be the saddest year for Cardinals because there would be an ego check of the Cardinals' options being DeMercado fumbles the ball, the Titans beat the Cardinals have by default the worst record than the Titans.
Mm-hmm.
Get the pick. Dante Moore goes back to school. They don't win the tiebreaker with the Jets. They're sitting at 3, and the options is after Robert Saleh skipped out on the interview with y'all and never left Nashville and signed without even interviewing first. There's no way in hell the first 2 options at QB for the Cardinals in 2026 is Will Levis that they would have to trade to the Titans for to get, or the other former Tennessee Titan Malik Willis getting a nice size contract, probably $15 million a year to come play in Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
With the likelihood that if y'all don't draft somebody behind that Jacoby Brissett steps in and has to play some games at some point anyways.
Yep.
That is,
I mean, it really
preposterous.
it's crazy. Like it's so crazy the way everything is just fault. Because like I said, going into this season, this was supposed to be a good season. Like this was supposed to be year 3 of the rebuild. You tore it all down to the studs in 2023.
Marvin
You
Harrison was
bottomed
supposed to
out.
break out.
And you come into the second season and it was, the signs were there and we all knew it. In 2024 we went into the bye week, we were 6-4, we were in first place in an NFC West that was on a down year, and we were all screaming, go for it, make a trade, because one of the biggest things we needed was pass rushers. Like, go get a pass rusher, do something. The division is there for you to win, and this doesn't happen every year. When that opportunity is there, you have to go for it. You can't just sit back and be like, well, no, we're gonna this is a rebuild. And like, no, this is the NFL. You don't get many opportunities to take the situation at hand if you have the opportunity. You can't just sit back and be like, no, we're worried on a rebuild. If you have a chance in a division as tough as the NFC West with Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan and Mike McDonald in his first season, if you have an opportunity to win that division, you go out and you take it. You do whatever you can to take it. Because then when the bottom falls out and you finish the year 2-5, your offense looks like shit. You can't get Marvin Harrison Jr. going. The offense is stagnant. You can't, you have no semblance of a passing game. And then you go into this next season, and the biggest mistake that Jonathan Gannon made as head coach is his loyalty to his coordinators, because he should have fired the offensive coordinator after last season.
They
Because
get a lot of them. I mean, look at the bullet that the Titans dodged in Stefanski. All the people crying for Stefanski. He goes to Atlanta and hires Bill Callahan, the first hire. If you're a Titan fan, like, what's he gonna do? His game plan to tell Borgonzi, I'm gonna come and I'm bringing Bill Callahan back.
bringing Bill Callahan, and he brings Tommy Reese, his OC for freaking Cleveland.
That's
like, what are you
really
doing?
crazy.
Like, and so, like, you go into the season, you don't fire the OC when you should have. When you had enough of a sample size to see after 2 seasons, the offensive coordinator, he might have been, good at, establishing a solid foundation with the run game. But the problem is you had a coach in house already, and your offensive line coach, Clayton Adams. And when you saw that there was other teams in the league that were looking to get him as their offensive coordinator, and you let him walk out the door, and then you go into the season, you basically say, F it, we're going to run it back. We're not going to change nothing. We're just going to run it back. Everybody's coming back. It's another year in the system. We're going to be fine. You load up on defense, which was great. I love that they actually spend some money on defense. You sign Josh Sweat. You bring back Calais Campbell. You draft Will Johnson. You draft Walter Nolan. Defensive side of the ball, I thought with no doubt we're going to be good. The offensive side, we were still all worried. And then sure enough, you start the season off and you saw the first 2 games. They win the first 2 games in New Orleans and Carolina, but the offense is still stagnant. They're still not able to move the ball. And the difference being this time now you can't run the ball. Because we still had James Conner those first 2 games, and they couldn't run the ball. They couldn't establish their identity like they had been. And then you start to notice as the year goes on, we can't run the ball anymore. But who's able to run the ball? Dallas. With our offensive coordinator taking a Dallas offensive line that was all beat to hell, taking 6th-round picks, 7th-round picks, undrafted players, and making it to where they are actually an efficient running team. Javonte Williams has a career year.
He did.
I mean, and it's so frustrating because you had that in house. You could have just easily moved on from your OC and said, "Look, man, we're sorry, it's just not working. We're going to go in a different direction." You promote your offensive line coach to offensive coordinator, and at the very minimum, you're going to have great offensive line play because in the first 2 years of the first year of the rebuild, and then the second year when they blew their chance to compete for the NFC West, the offensive line was the strongest suit on the offense. That was the best position group on the offense was the offensive line. It was consistent. And you let the guy that was the catalyst of that walk out the door. And that is what ultimately cost Jonathan his job because then he was so loyal to his coordinators, he would not fire anybody. He wouldn't fire the defensive coordinator, and they're giving up 40 burgers every other week. And your offensive coordinator, we are the only team in the NFL this season that did not score more than 27 points in a single game. And we finished the season scoring 20 points or less when we lost 9 straight games.
EA Sports. It's in the game.
All right, somebody got a question for you in the chat. Nessa, what up? Said, ask what he prefers that the Cardinals do in the NFL draft. So I'll pull that back up. Let's see. All right, let's just all assume that Fernando Mendoza is going 1 to the Raiders. The Jets are sitting at 2. They still have Justin Fields under a $14 million contract this upcoming season. Cardinals sit at 3. And we all have to say that, like, is Trinidad Chambliss coming out? Because him and Ty Simpson would be the only people that could be taking their QB in any kind of world that they could be taking. Mm-hmm. So, like, what do you pick?
If we stick and pick at number 3, the only 2 positions I want them to look at, and I would hope that they would look at, is either. I love Paris Johnson Jr. He's a fantastic player. He is a stalwart at left tackle. He's a building block, a big piece of what you want to build. Be lying if I didn't say there's many times when I watch the Houston Texans play and I see Will Anderson Jr. wreaking havoc and say, man, you could have had that at number 3 in that year's draft.
Yep.
And I don't know if, as Cardinal fans, we could sit there and take that again if we pass on Ruben Bain if he's there, depending on what the Jets do at number 2. I don't know. Like Arvell Reese, I don't see them going after because, especially organizationally wise, it gives me so much flashbacks to Isaiah Simmons, a jack of all trades. But
off ball,
what is the
jack of all trades master?
One thing he does, yeah. What is the one thing he does best? We don't know. He's good at a lot of things, but what is he great at? And that was the problem with Isaiah Simmons. He was that jack of all trades. You could put him at off-ball linebacker. You could put him at safety. You could put him at nickel corner. But there wasn't one position that he dominated at. And so, yeah, it's like buyer's remorse on that thing. So I don't think they would even really kind of entertain Arvell Reese. But to me, it's either Ruben Bain, if he's there, personally. But if they weren't going to go Ruben Bain, it's got to be the right tackle out of Miami.
Maui Noah.
I mean, because you pair him with Paris Johnson and you got 2 young studs as your stalwarts, your bookends at tackle for the next decade. And then you just got to figure out the middle. I mean, and because like what that's the biggest, like, outside of quarterback, obviously, you got to have a left tackle. And then if you can find a young stud at right tackle, I mean, you're set. So I personally would love and hope that if he's there, go get Ruben Bain Jr., go get your Dwight Freeney 2.0 and pair him with Josh Sweat and a healthy Walter Nolan when he comes back. But if they don't, I really hope it's I can never pronounce his name. Maui Noah.
Maui Noah.
Maui Noah. Yeah. That's what I hope they do.
All right,
but at the same time, I would not be surprised if anything that they trade back.
All right, so I like your
Let
idea.
me teach you how to vibe.
Let's say, All right, let's say Cardinals stick and pick at 3 and take Maui Noah and load up the offensive line and trade Kyler Murray for a solid draft pick. I would have to guess that they would get a second or a third for him. And
I think the very most you can hope to get for Kyler with his contract and everything is the third round pick. I don't think anybody's going to trade a second. Damn sure nobody's going to trade a first. I think the best you can hope for is a third, maybe a fourth. But it's going to be hard because, I mean, you look at what happened this season. I mean, you basically you kept him out. You soft benched him because you didn't want him to get hurt because of the falling out between him and the coaching staff in terms of what was going on and how everything had progressed. But then at the same time, you also made it look like you benched him for Jacoby Brissett, and you bring in Jacoby Brissett and you completely change your offense. The problem is that people wanted to rag on Kyler and say, oh, he wasn't doing, as good as Jacoby. Kyler didn't have the opportunity to throw the ball like Jacoby did. Kyler ran the offense how the offensive coordinator asked him and wanted him to. Like, case in point, the game against the Titans, right? We're up by 2 points. We ran the ball 3 straight times. Twice with Michael Carter Jr., a fourth string running back, and once with Imari DiMercado, a third string running back. We kick the ball to you, give the ball back. Kyler was not allowed to audible out of anything in that entire set, that entire set of plays. Like, he was not allowed to audible out. How can you look at a quarterback that has been in this league and not give him the opportunity to go win you that game? Knowing what he can do with his arm and with his feet. You have got all the momentum is on Tennessee's side, and you don't even let him have the opportunity. You tell him to turn around and hand the ball off to third and fourth string backs 3 straight times. Then you soft bench him, you put him on IR, and then you completely change the offense around to where Jacoby is allowed to throw the ball 40 times a game. Now, if you're allowed to let a quarterback throw the ball 40 times, I'm pretty sure any competent quarterback is going to be able to put up some stats. So the stats that Jacoby's putting up is because he's getting that opportunity. If you look at Kyler, I think the last time he threw 40-plus times in a game was in the middle of the 2024 season.
That's crazy.
And so now you've created this, trying to think of the right word for it, but just this whole stance on Kyler that we don't know what we're going to get with him. Is he healthy? Can he play in this league no more? And you got this huge contract associated with him. So there's a good possibility it's going to be DeAndre Hopkins all over again where nobody's going to trade for him and you're going to have to cut him. You're not going to get anything for him.
That's tough. I mean, I'm going to be honest. Y'all got Brissett under contract. If you're not going to get value back from Kyler Murray, I would have to say best case scenario is you do take Maui Noah, you leave Kyler Murray there and eat the money. And if Trinidad Chambliss comes out, you draft him anyways in the second.
Yeah,
Only reason
I mean,
why
like,
I say
honestly,
is y'all got a similar situation that we've got. Y'all just got it at the wrong position. See, we got the position with Calvin Ridley's due $28 million and L'Jarius Sneed is on a $76 million contract, but he's got this alleged drive-by shooting. So you can't cut him and then he's found innocent. You get sued. You can't void the contract like that. Or you're going to just eat the $8 million and cut him and just eat it anyways. The league probably won't give you the $8 million back, and then with, and he's hurt. And then with Calvin Ridley being due $28 million, there's nobody trading good draft capital to pay Calvin Ridley $28 million to play coming off an injury.
No.
At 30.
The only hope I can see for them if they want to get a Ty Simpson or a Trinidad Chambliss it's gonna have to turn it. They're gonna have to do what New York did last year with Jackson Dart. You're gonna have to hope that the Jets, with their second first round pick, which I think is at 16, if they don't jump in front of that, or the Jets somehow don't take him at 16, you're gonna have to pair up your second round and possibly your third round, and or just find something that gets you back into the first round if you truly think that one of these two are worth taking a flyer on just later in the first round.
See, the tough part with that is the Rams got 2 first. When you get to 13 with the Rams, or you get like you said, Jets 16, Steelers 21. Like you start to get into a spicy situation of if the good QBs in this draft is left and you start getting in the middle of the first round, anything can happen.
Nope. And it stinks because, like I said, if you look into 27, that's your opportunity to get a good quarterback is going to be 27 in the 27 draft. So unless it's a perfect storm that gets you an opportunity that you believe in Ty or you believe in Trinidad and you feel like you can get up there and get him, I think at this point they're going to have to look at a young quarterback that's already in the league, like a Will Levis, like a Malik Willis, a Marcus Mariota. You're going to have something that comes in and just throw it up into camp and let, whoever comes in compete with Jacoby and see who's going to roll with it week one.
I mean,
That's
these
all.
names
That's
are
the
so
only option you
bad.
have at this point.
I mean, Zach Wilson, Tyrod Taylor, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Garoppolo, Trubisky, Case Keenum, Trey Lance, Carson Wentz, Brandon Allen, Josh Johnson, Kyle Allen, Teddy Bridgewater, Gardner Minshew, Tyler Huntley, Easton Stick, Brett Rippon, Skylar Thompson, Tommy DeVito, Sam Howell, Jake Browning, Emory Jones. Like, that is the worst pool of free agent QBs I've ever heard.
Yep, it's bad. It's really bad. Like I said, we picked the absolute worst time to be a bad team because there's no options. There's no Sam Darnold. I mean, there's no real true option that you can kind of look at it and see unless you make a trade.
And that's the tough part, losing capital with a new coach.
Yep. And so that's why I think it really is going to depend on who they hire as head coach, because the only offensive head coaches that they're still having somewhat of a link to is Clint Kubiak and Mike LaFleur. And then the other side of it on defense, you have them looking at Chris Shula and the DC from Jacksonville, Campanelli. Because I know we've, like, from the podcast that I listened to that covers the Cardinals, like, there is, like, I don't know how the process is with Sean McDermott right now, because if he wants to coach this year, there's not really any other options on teams for him to pick from that would be interested in him besides the Cardinals. Because you got to look, of the 5 coaches remaining, Pittsburgh's not going to, pick him up because it's going to be just a repeat of what they've already been going through. You're going to be good. You're going to get to a certain point. You can't get over that hump. Cleveland looks like they really want to go with either one of these young offensive-minded coaches, or if they do stay defense, they're just going to roll with Jim Schwartz. The Raiders going to want to go with a young offensive mind to pair with Fernando Mendoza. And then that only leaves the Cardinals and what was the last team? I'm blanking. There's 5 remaining left. It's Pittsburgh and Buffalo, and obviously he's not going back to Buffalo. So his only real opportunity to coach, if he wants to coach this year, would be really realistically Arizona. And the whole thing about it falls back under that stigma of none of these established coaches want to come to Arizona because of the perceived notions of how the organization's ran, how the owner is, and the fact that it's a tough division and you don't have a quarterback.
And the thing is, The Niners got Purdy and Mac Jones. So if the Niners want to be dirty, they could just sit on Mac Jones.
Yeah.
Then
And if you read the press conference with Shanahan, that's pretty much what he told him. He's like, look, we're not just going to trade good players to trade them.
Because the Seahawks have Darnold, but they got Jalen Milroe like
Sitting there
developing.
learning.
Like he might get to sit for 2 years under Darnold's whole
Sit there on
3-year
the entire contract.
I'm just trying to put it together because then you got the Rams who got 2 first-round picks. So like depending on how this season go, you can see them maybe wasting a luxury pick to draft a QB to sit behind.
Because especially for the Rams, it's going to depend on what happens after the season with Stafford. If they win the Super Bowl, I mean, there's a very real possibility that Stafford can just ride off in the sunset like Peyton Manning. I won my second Super Bowl. I'm going to go out on the highest of highs. And then they're going to be looking at a quarterback.
That's tough, man. Like then you gotta say like Joe Milton on the Cowboys, Will Levis on the Titans. You gotta start like looking to poach Davis Mills on the Texans. Mac Jones on the night. Teams have good QBs in the tuck. Meanwhile, teams is like Aaron Glenn really got to be thinking like the worst possible scenario is Moore going back to school and Mendoza going to the Raiders, and then legitimately saying like there's a chance that Justin Fields may be given another chance in New York next year, and people laugh at that, but it's to say like you're not gonna eat $15 million just for the sake of getting something else similar.
Exactly. Because the thing is, like, with everybody talking about the Jets being a possibility for Kyler, it's like they have their own version of that in Justin Fields. The only difference is Kyler throws the ball better than Justin, but you're basically getting a smaller version of the same quarterback you already have on your roster.
Exactly.
So why would you want to do that retread?
Man, it's some tragic situations out here of
Yeah, I mean this is going to come down to the GM looking at the state of the roster, looking at the state of the quarterback position, and trying to figure out. Like I said, I would have loved if they went and made a play for like a Davis Mills at the trade deadline last year, but given how CJ's played this year, and since his rookie year, there's no way that Houston's going to trade Davis Mills.
Now, Hendry say Russell Wilson to Arizona. I mean, I don't see where you would have Jacoby Brissett sitting there under contract and go get Russell Wilson.
If they do trade for another quarterback that's already in the league, it's going to be a younger veteran, like someone that's got a few years under their belt, but they're not going to just go trade for another veteran that's got, that's in his past his prime, like a Russell Wilson or a Joe Flacco, because they already have that with Jacoby. Right. Why are you going to want to bring in 2 of the same type of caliber quarterbacks when you already have one that's on your roster? I mean, it may be one of those things where they look at, like I said, one of these. God, I don't even want to think of a situation where they're looking at a Kenny Pickett or an Aaron O'Donnell, or it's bad. It's just the state of the quarterback position for them is so bad right now, and I don't know what the immediate answer is because it's just nothing. There's no easy answer.
This is like stump the shop because you got to really sit back and think like this is what the front office is having to sit down with a coach over a Zoom call or interview over dinner and try to explain.
Yep. While you're trying to hire someone to lead your franchise after you just fired someone, because like I said, what they said in their press conference when they fired Jonathan Gannon is this is a wins and loss league, and what came down to the reason why they fired Jonathan Gannon is because there wasn't enough wins. How do you sell that to a head coach that's supposed to come in the most important position on your roster? You don't really have an answer for it, and that's quarterback.
Man, that's tough, man. I'm glad that I rebooted tonight because I was trying to remember what I was like. I got a topic. I just can't think of what it is. And then when I finally thought, I said, "Oh, I'm starting over because this is gonna be a good topic."
Yeah, like I mean, like I said, honestly, if depending, even regardless of who they pick as head coach, their only real options, like I said, if they're not going to try to aggressively pursue a tie or a Trinidad Chambliss, it's going to have to be a young quarterback that's already in the league, like a Will Levis, a Malik, um, Tanner McKee from Philadelphia, or maybe looking at Sam Howell again since he's been sitting for the last couple of years, but he's got experience as a starter, because he's only going to be, I think, 25, 26. So it's going to be a big situation they got to figure out, and they got to figure it out fast.
Oh yeah, it's coming because what you don't want to be is the last guy picking in the coaching carousel, and then as soon as the guy gets in, you're making a decision on Kyler, and the guy feels like he's already been failed.
Yep. Because that was the other thing that drove me nuts about the whole saga with the offensive coordinator and Gannon is when they brought Gannon in, when they interviewed him, he said one of his quotes was he wouldn't have taken the job if Kyler wasn't the quarterback. So he came in and said that was his guy, that was his quarterback. But then how are you going to say that's your quarterback and then you hire an offensive coordinator who refuses to tailor his offense to fit the strengths of your quarterback?
Ego.
You literally brought in a guy whose offense, the way he wants to run it, he wants someone that's 6'4", 250 to be able to just sit back in that pocket and just sling the thing. And that's not Kyler. That's never going to be Kyler. And you
him.
come in and you say that you are all in on Kyler, but you don't have enough of the brass to fire the OC because he's not fixing his scheme to maximize what you have at quarterback. And then it turns into this giant falling out, and to the point where they soft bench him. And then as soon as he got hurt and he didn't come back for the Dallas game, I said, that's it. He's not playing another game for the rest of his season. And he's probably played his last game as a Cardinal. Because if you saw the reports and you saw him at practice, he looked fine. He didn't look hurt. He looked like he was ready to go.
Even when he got hurt in that game, I was like, what actually happened to him?
Yeah. And so, it just nothing made sense. And then you see the reports and you hear about what's going on behind the scenes. It's like, okay. Basically, him and the OC had a falling out. They weren't able to, figure out the issues that was causing them to not be able to run the offense effectively. So they basically all came together and said, look, man, we're just gonna put you on IR, let you get healthy. We'll go into the offseason, help you find your next destination, let you start your career over, and let the OC run the offense with Jacoby. And yeah, like I said, Jacoby put up numbers, but a lot of it was in garbage time, and a lot of it was because they let Jacoby throw the ball 40-plus times a game because you couldn't run the ball anymore.
I just never been a fan of having a $50 million quarterback that you don't want him to throw. Not that he can't throw, because Kyler Murray really can turn it loose. But
exactly.
Not kind of handicapping him and not allowing him to be him is not ideal for the Cardinals.
No. Especially, like you say, when you bring in a guy as a head coach that says, that's my quarterback, and you literally don't support your quarterback. You go to bat for your coordinator before your quarterback. And like I said, it cost Gannon his job. Because if Gannon would have won at least one more game, I guarantee you this, if they would have won one of those games in the middle of that 9-game losing streak, whether it was against Jacksonville or Indianapolis, or if they just would have won at least one of those games, he would still be the head coach right now.
That's crazy to think about. Like,
yeah.
I always look at it the best possible thing happened for the Titans is another bad year, but it cleared the reset with the coaching staff that was here. That wasn't getting it done. It give you 10 draft picks. It give you the end of Rand Carthon's rebuild. It gives you $100+ million in cap, and you've landed a coach that people didn't think you could get. You know,
Yep.
that's to me that's solid enough. You know, so
Yep. I was joking around the other day with someone. I told him, I was like, man, Tennessee swept us this year. They not only beat us in the season, got Kyler knocked out of the game toward the point where he's never going to play another down for the Cardinals, and they swooped in and got the coach that more than likely we actually had a chance to get if we didn't have the situation we were having in terms of the front office and a quarterback. And you let him get on the plane to Nashville. Like I said, as soon as you switched it from a Zoom to an in person, the
you already
first
kind of
thing
knew.
exactly the owner should have been like, "Hey, what is it going to take for me to come get you right now?" You don't let him get on that plane because once you let him get on that plane in Nashville, I
It's
knew
over
it. He
with.
wasn't going to come. He's not coming back. There's no way. So,
Yeah, man. Hey, look, I appreciate you getting in and give me the Cardinals breakdown. Look,
oh,
you the official Arizona Cardinal voice in the Vibe Nation Network, and I was just like, man, I was trying to figure it out because I was sitting there wrecking my brain, like, what would we have done picking at 4 if we didn't have Cam Ward? There would have been nobody coming out this draft for us to even select in a year where everybody was telling us to tank to get the QB this year. This was gonna be the class, and this
yeah,
draft
because
class of free agents and players is beyond thin, and especially in a year where there was double-digit coaches of like vacancies. So like, not only you fighting trying to get the coach, you're trying to figure out who's gonna be the QB in a draft where you feel as if, like, realistically, like Maui Noah, Jeremiah Love, in Caleb Downs is like the three players that's out of position that somebody would burn a top 10 pick and say you're getting a very, very, very great player. Outside of that, like, if you take Carnell Tight or Tyson early, and when you seen Tetroa McMillan fall, it just seems weird, right? Like, I just don't see a world where, you know, teams was expecting to be in a position of having to completely shift everything they doing on a dime.
Yep.
But man, appreciate you hopping in the booth and breaking it down.
always.
I'm finna hop out. I'm gonna chop this up probably into 2 parts, and then I'm gonna make a post dated for this to drop in the morning, man. Appreciate everybody pulling up. Even though I went live late, I had put the wallpaper up in my wife's craft room, so like my shoulders are completely on fire from standing on top of a stool with my hands like straight up on the wall for like probably like a little bit over an hour. Like, my arms is burning. So appreciate you, bro. Appreciate y'all in the chat. Y'all know what it is, man. God first in the chat, and we'll catch y'all tomorrow.